Good afternoon. My name is Easy Owens. Um, I'm going to be arguing the negative side of why drugs should not be legalized. Um, all drugs, that is, specifically. First, I think it's important to acknowledge the reason why all drugs currently are illegal. Most drugs, with the exception of decriminalizing some marijuana, alcohol, tobacco, caffeine, are illegal more or less so because uh, plainly morally they're incorrect. Just the state of being so out of your mind all the time, uh, ethically is is a bad way to be. Primarily because of the impact it has on children. So when you attempt to legalize all of these drugs, we now have an exposure to children, and as we all know, children will absorb and kind of mimic what they have in their surroundings. So as we legalize all drugs, now we're exposing children to this behavior, to which now they think is normal. They'll grow up kind of emulating this behavior, if not intensely, occasionally and recreationally. It's a bad thing because these people who actually are addicts and are doing harsh drugs, sometimes their parents cannot feed them. So it's a very harsh reality for them to be in. That plays into the ethics of it all. Not being able to support your family as you're supporting your need for an addiction of a drug. Um, and so to say you can legalize that and then have, say, programs, who then would be the person to pay for those programs? Would that be on taxpayers to then, take part of our taxes to put towards that? Or would it be more like an Alcoholics Anonymous program or something of that sort where, you have to pay yourself to be in the program? With that point being mentioned, we've already mentioned how a lot of addicts are struggling to pay and can't feed their children because they are already, paying for their addiction. Part of the laws that are already set in place are set to protect us from making otherwise bad decisions. And you can argue the point that the drug is an individualistic thing, only, harming or benefiting the person that's actually doing the drug, but that's not true, as that person in that state affects everyone around them, and to a point is an impact in their community. So the next point would be that drugs are harmful to your body. That's another great reason why they should be illegal because it's obvious and proven that they not only can kill you, but especially with prolonged use, will deteriorate, your lungs, kidneys, liver, brain. You know, some drugs like ketamine will even eat away at your bladder. None of this is good reasons why we should legalize all drugs. Obviously, it's a very dangerous thing that needs to stay illegal. Um, Most drugs are addictive. Uh, Caffeine, tobacco being the most addictive, alcohol coming in right behind that. Uh, so, with the addiction comes the crime. People, if it's legalized, they can get help, yes, but people are only going to get help if they want themselves to get help. Uh, you can't force someone to get help if they don't want it. They're going to run away from rehabs, which actually happens. People escape rehabs when they get placed there because they don't want to quit doing the drug yet. Even legalizing all drugs and how harmful they are to your body, um, we can take a look at medically prescribed painkillers, and that has killed hundreds of thousands of Americans since the outbreak that we had of medically prescribed painkillers, of the opioids. And back in 2007, the CDC was quoted saying that it was right around 18,000 deaths per year, and as recent as 2017 to 2018, an average of about 46,000 Americans died daily due to prescribed painkillers. That number is killing them, and that number is high of deaths, and it's not because they're illegal. It's because these drugs are actually dangerous. And so as you look in a year, you are 20 times more likely to die on heroin, 5 times more likely to die by the year end if you're on cocaine. Again, this is not because the drug is illegal. It's because these drugs are dangerous, and legalizing these drugs would not change anything. It would not change that fact. That is stated fact. In addition to legalizing all drugs, this would then widen the black market. Uh, if you put less, punishment on it, this creates a room for people to come in. We see it with medical marijuana and even recreational marijuana in Canada. Some businesses like Aurora are experiencing huge losses because black market cannabis is still much cheaper than government created, tested, employed cannabis is. It's not going to close the window, it'll only open the window. So with our end result of deteriorated health, uh, not to mention, also mentioning intoxicated driving, this is the huge boost that with drug increase or alcohol increase becomes more impaired driving. It's clear with marijuana, and it's clear with everything being decriminalized and released from medical across the state. And so, to close this argument, I will leave you with this last piece. Um, if crime is a risk, uh, it doesn't always have to mean that someone will be hurt for it to be a crime. Sometimes, but we do have a right as a society and a duty to mitigate those crimes of self-harm and other. So this is why all drugs should not be legalized. Thank you.